unchanged tale. I think one of the things with Aesop is that all of his tales are relatable to people because he puts them in the context of things we can understand. He doesn't complicate them. He makes them very simple. And I think he's not so much a moralist as he is an ethicist, where he's talking about ethical behavior rather than being good.
No, I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. I know that he's usually taught as a moralist, though.
Yeah, but he's more. Well, as a matter of fact, because I would think that, and again, I'm a purist when it comes to the idea of morals and ethics and the difference between the two. And I think he's really, really trying to say, in a roundabout way, that in these tales, if you follow them, not only are you ethical, but you will live a moral life, whether or not you even set out to do that.
Kind of like putting the carriage before the horse. Like, if you live ethically, you will live morally.
Yeah, in most cases, yes. Okay. I think so, because I think that your purpose to live ethically is also serves an even higher good, and so you if you try to be ethical in all situations, you'll find out that most of those, the parallel is morality. So so I think it's really good. But I think with you, Jeff, and you, Jim, that we need to teach classics back in the curriculum again. And I'm classicist. I'm classically educated. And so when I taught philosophy and history, if I taught the history of the Greeks, I wasn't so much interested in the mythology in that as I was their contribution of virtue. And the idea of virtue, of the first to have a vocabulary for the second language that we have, and it wasn't just a materialistic language; it's a spiritual language. Whether you want to say with a big S or a small s. So if we live virtuously, then and we keep that in our sights, then we pretty well stay on a very, very good plane and good path.
We made it to top 10, gang.
Yes, you did. Yep, congratulations.
But the thing is, if you look at the Greeks and the Stoics,
they were pretty morally questionable
in some ways. But I mean, if you look at someone like Marcus Aurelius, they didn't necessarily believe in afterlife. They did believe that there was a certain code. Now, they didn't always follow it, but they certainly believed that there were certain natural law rules.
Well, I hate to be nitpicky. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman, not a Greek.
Oh, I know he was. No, I know.
He was a Roman. Yeah, but
I mean, sort of the oh, thank you, my friend. No sort problem. Of the theory of Greek Stoicism sort of culminated, I guess, in his meditations.
Well, so. I think that when Paul began preaching to the Greeks, one of the reasons that he was able to do it is that he took.
I've got to go, guys.
Awesome seeing you.
Don't forget to send me a note when you're going to want what day you want to read.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that Paul was able to deal with the Greeks because he put the language of Judeo-Christian theology in the language of philosophy. That they already understood the good. They didn't necessarily have toagathon, but they understood perfection. And so dealing with the Gentiles is where heaven is no longer good, it's perfect. And they didn't understand the Judeo-Christian ideas. So he just baptized Plato. And that's what he dished up. And he made it really bad for theologians in the future because they began to say, well, what does Athens have to do with Jerusalem? Because because the emphasis was on too much philosophy rather than the theology. So
and then Aquinas did the same thing.
Yes, absolutely.
He went too much on philosophy, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll give you an example.
I mean, I'm sort of a Thomist, or I like Thomist ideas, but I think getting too specific about it gets. I think people lose themselves in it too much if they focus too much on it. So.
What is the discussion about, if I may ask? I'm sorry, I have ADHD.
Hey, Fuzzy, welcome.
Well, tonight's topic which we're moving around a bit. But tonight's topic is, let me open it again. Hold on 1 second. I'll read it to you.
Cool.
Is a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking, because its trust is in not the branch but its own wings.
It's trust that it will survive falling out the branch. Is that what I'm hinting at there?
Yep.
Or?
Yep, because if the
Confident.
branch breaks, I'll fly away. It's about inner strength.
True.
Yeah.
Thanks for becoming a fan, Richard.
No problem. Please stand back. I can't wait to
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
broadcast. Thank
No
you.
worries. I've been a fan of you since well, actually, I had like another account before, but I deleted it because I tried to like retire from this website at one point, but now I came back. So I think I've known you since Cal's broadcast.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, and the crazy thing is that there is a glitch in YouNow that if you're gone a certain amount of times, it actually unfans you from people.
Yep,
And,
I'm fully aware.
Yeah, and it also happens. Hey, Chris is here. Hi, Chris Maxwell is
Hey,
here.
Chris.
Hi.
Actually, wait. I think it also maybe unfan Jim too. Hold on 1 sec, bro.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because it unfans people, and so. But no, Heather, what I was talking about is that when Paul went to teach to the Gentiles, because early Jews didn't believe that they believed you had to be Jewish first to become a Christian, and so that created a tremendous amount of tension, because the Greeks personally did not want to get circumcised as adults. So that was the argument. So
I don't blame them.
Yeah. Well, look, Abram did it with a rock. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, it really cost something back then. But but what happened was he himself, being a Roman citizen and understanding the Greek logic, he took Plato and he put it in a language they can understand. And one of the things that Plato taught was the Platonic ideal, where everything on this earth is imperfect, but it's an imperfect copy of a perfect something somewhere. And so it's easy to make the connection. The perfection is heaven, and it's imperfect here. And if you want to see where he took directly from that and put it into scripture, is in Corinthians, where it says, what I see now is but a dim image in a mirror. When that which is perfect comes, that which is imperfect passes away. That's Plato. I'm sorry, that's Plato. That's not theology, that's philosophy. And so and it kind of confused things for a while, because the Greeks came at everything from an intellectual rather than an emotional standpoint. So that's one of the things. But the question is, where does faith come into the bird? He has his confidence, but does he have faith?
Well, the thing is, if you have confidence in yourself, is that because you have faith, and through faith you know that your wings are going to work. So because there was there's an argument to be made, I guess, that faith would be external and faith in God is a branch. I would not make that argument. I would say that our faith is such a part of us that it's our faith that is an inherent thing that makes us strong.
Well, but doesn't faith in our moral teaching? Dustin, what's going on? Isn't faith that which tells us we can do anything if we do it in faith?
Yes.
So are there any limits to that? Hey, what's going on, Joshua?
No, I don't believe. I think there's not. Look, that's the whole point of faith. Faith is unlimited.
Then if human beings have that kind of faith, then flight is not reserved to birds. It's reserved to anyone or anything that has that faith and grace.
If that's the case, why aren't we physically flying right now like birds? If I may ask.
Well, no. I'm just talking about.
You're talking about metaphor.
No, the argument to that is, well, then I can't fly because I don't have perfect faith, and that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and again, we have to be very, very careful. Jim, would you put that sentence about the bird into a human situation?
Sure, I would say that that we can't always rely on. I said this a little bit earlier. That we can't get through just relying on the strength of others, on the support of others. on our job situation, on our financial situation. We have to be, whatever it is, have the inherent belief in ourselves that if all those externals, if all of those branches are taken away, that we can survive, that we can fly. Howdy, Dustin. It's great to see you.
Hey,
So
Dustin, absolutely.
And it's faith. It does start out with faith in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That now again, it's the greater faith in something greater, and you and I believe to be our Christian faith, that we're able to, and you, I know, Heather, and that gives us enough inner strength to do that. Wow, we must have. Thanks, Dustin. I just moved up to sixth, and guys.
Yeah, I was going to say,
drop the booty here.
That was great. So.
Again, folks, if you haven't shared up the broadcast, please do. We want as many people in here to join in our conversations. But again, having said all of that, so I think that's what is in human terms is that no matter how many external supports we have, they're ephemeral. They don't last. We don't know how long they will last. What we do know is that when the time comes for us to use our own inner strength and fly, we have to find that. That's the point. Mm-hmm.
So is
Dr. Kasanoff, I have the greatest respect for you, and I always love you when I broadcast, but you do always find the most pessimistic way of putting it. Is that we can't be free.
I'm not gonna lie. I have personally, I'm a pessimist.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
I still seek hope. I feel like I'm a pessimist in a way to, I guess, be realistic or prepare myself for don't get your hopes too up.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I have always been.
Wouldn't you be more of a pragmatist than a pessimist?
Okay, well, yeah, there's that.
Well, it's the old saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah. Ben Franklin says,
Yeah, you're right. It's always easy to think about the negative, to be honest.
Yeah, it's and you're going to do a thing on pessimism and optimism, aren't you, Jim?
I've got the quote on the pessimist, the optimist, and the realist.
Yeah, that. I can't wait for that. That's going to be
that was coming up. But then I saw this one tonight, and I thought, especially now as the world is changing. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the state. Governor Cuomo finally today in New York lifted all restrictions. We are back to pre-pandemic world in New York. And people are going to need to start realizing that they need to get outside again. They need to start acting again. They need to start moving around again. They need to start living again.
Like normal people.
I think most of that's probably forgotten about because of how long this pandemic's been. I think most people that were once like outgoing, like pragmatists, have like devolved into like pessimists because of how long they've been kept.
Well, yeah, it's a social conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, this pandemic is going to worldwide and have a permanent effect on the human psyche.
Oh, absolutely. Again, everybody thinks we're going to be quote unquote normal again, and again, we're never going to know what it was. That page is turned. So what we're going to have to do is live with a new realism and a new reality because everything changed. Absolutely, everything.
There are probably going to be people that are not going to be comfortable getting their masks for we know and stuff.
My mother still has been vaccinated. She still wears a mask.
Well, you know what? Two things about masks. One, if you ever have traveled to Asia, people have worn those masks for decades.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that.
Well, part of that is because of the pollution, though, isn't it?
That is true. But the other part of it is, Faraz, you're exactly right. I said this I've been saying this to people several times recently. This pandemic has created a sub-society, hey, Short Nugget, welcome, of agoraphobes. People who will never leave their house. People who will never leave their houses again unless under extreme circumstances. I'm on the board of a theater and we're opening up, and the one member of the board is like, "Well, should we do?" I'm like, "Then don't." I said to her, "Lori, don't show up. If you don't want to come, no one's making you come. Stay home. It's okay." But and I don't mean to belittle that or diminish that at all.
Oh, I understand, but we need to get a grip of ourselves. And I personally am a homebody. I'm an introvert, but even just seeing everyone else getting affected by it, it breaks my heart. and it affects me.
I love
in
the way
turn.
you said that. Breaks my heart.
I'm sorry. I'm from Western North Carolina.
Well, that's
why.
all right. I'm from.
I'm sorry.
I grew up on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And we had an Elizabethan accent. So no, but I lived in North Carolina for a while, and one of the things that you can always say, you can get away with anything. That's an ugly baby, bless a little heart. And if you say that, you can pretty well say anything. Bless a little heart.
That's okay, Short Nugget. You know, we're just happy to have you here. You know, people can participate as they like. We just want to have everyone here to share in the conversation.
I've been watching a number of YouTube videos where people that have made videos for a while when they're traveling overseas. And what is being lost that it's really interesting is almost no one is shaking hands anymore. That they do knuckle bumps or they touch elbows. That
Oh my God.
yeah, just that little thing is kind of gone. And you know, I wonder if that will ever come back. If that,
Well,
you know,
again, but that's a very Eurocentric thing. And Richard, you know this. Other people
Yes.
might not.
Well,
The reason why we shake hands,
Yes.
it used to be that you grabbed like this, so you grabbed each other's sword arm, so that
Absolutely.
they couldn't do anything. Oh my God, Lisa!
Hey, Conquer Life is here.
I think it
Welcome for
depends
coming
on
in. It's
how prominent that
wonderful.
gesture is in your life. Like for me, for example, I've always been much of a fist bumper, and I feel like that's something that's probably going to be with me for the rest of my life. But yeah.
Yep.
For me,
As somebody who's a hypochondriac, I've just always shook hands, but sometimes I will fist bump.
Yeah.
But
but
it'll do.
for me, I'm a hugger. I love the intimacy of a hug, and you know, I'm wondering, is that going to die? Because that would be
Possibly.
that's a large part.
But again, that's such a European thing.
Yes.
I mean, you know, if you go to to Japan, you don't shake hands, you bow. If you go into the Middle East, you bow with you bow and you hand a person your card with. That's what you tell a person's background, where they hand you their card with one hand or
Yes.
two hands.
Yes. And but one of the things that I found interesting about Japan when they were questioning about masks, the people said we've worn masks for, like you said, for decades, but it is to make sure that we don't infect someone else with something we might have. So it was almost out of a courtesy or a respect that Oriental people wore masks. And pollution. Like in China, it had nothing to do with being nice. It had to do with the fact you can't breathe the air. So
Yeah.
No, it's miserable there.
Yeah.
I feel for them.
I believe it or not, I think they say the same thing about us.
I mean, rumors has it that's the birth.
Well,
that's
there's
the birthplace of the
reason
pandemic.
there's suicide nets outside the factories.
Yep. I mean, rumors has it that's the birthplace of the pandemic. I mean, I don't know for sure, but
Well, I think it is that was it Wuhan or Wusan?
Wuhan.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
I think that's been pretty established. But
Yeah, but the thing is, it was already revealed a year ago by Zero Hedge, and I read the article, and now they still haven't gotten their Twitter and stuff back.
Yeah. Oh, Linz, you're right, because the Olympics are coming up in Japan, in Tokyo, because I think they're as far as their arc of infection, I think they're a little bit behind where we are in time frame. Well, I'm going to be in Spain on on July 1st.
Nice.
So I'll be there from the 1st to the 11th. I'll try to broadcast from there. It'll be earlier in the day though.
where are you going to be, if I might ask? What are you going to be doing? Is it a vacation or is it a business visit or
business trip? It's a UN thing. We're going to be in Madrid. The World Jurist Association is having an international meeting. I'm chairing one panel on privacy and cybersecurity. There's another panel on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because we were the last organization to give her a Lifetime Achievement Award before the world shut down and she passed away. So her daughter is coming to Madrid, and there are going to be a couple of panels on the impact of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And my daughter Alex, who some of you have met, is sitting on one of the panels.
Awesome.
Yep.
No, but to get back to the original thing, talking about the bird's ability to fly, and having a state he's not afraid that the branch will break. Again, trying to apply that to the human condition is it's I'm trying to get something relatable. There it is. Jim, do you have any suggestions for websites about privacy
and cybersecurity. That'll be a whole other resource. See, I'm sort of the procedure guy, not the cyber guy. But Black Hat, let me ask my office, and I'll shoot you a note as to what resources. But again, I think, face it, while that is a true, while it's a true physical thing, it's also a metaphor. Again, I guess back to you relating it to human beings is finding internal strength, and not only just finding it, but knowing it.
What is that noise?
Benny's having a coughing fit.
Oh, okay.
That's the dog.
Telling you were kicking the bucket.
No, Benny's having a coughing fit. He gets those now and then. But again, it's knowing it's there, it's recognizing it's there, and utilizing it. And those are all, hey, Josh, and those are all separate steps. Those are all separate steps. Having the strength, finding the strength, recognizing the strength, and utilizing the strength.
Well, would you say that one of the greatest strengths of human beings then is their adaptability in all situations? Where we aren't born with wings, but yet we in ways have learned to fly with planes and things of that nature. We can adapt to cold weather even though we're not born there, or we can adapt to the tropics, even though that isn't our natural, I don't want to say habitat, but our natural environment.
Molly, it's wonderful to see you. It's been too long. Thank you for coming in tonight. Great to see you.
Absolutely.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, because we have the ability to reason and think and create. It's Henry Drummond's speech in Inherit the Wind.
William Henry Drummond.
Yeah.
No. That's William Jennings. It's Henry Drummond is a fictional character based on Clarence Darrow in
I thought you were talking about a Canadian poet.
Oh no. It's he's based on a real life person of William Jennings Bryan.
No, he's based on Clarence Darrow.
Oh yeah.
Clarence Darrow.
He does have this. To Richard 20 has this great speech. If I remember correctly, is that what little we have, all we have is our reason. That the cheetah is faster, the butterfly is more beautiful, the elephant is stronger. That even the simple sponge is more durable. All we have is our ability to reason. That was the gift that we got. And that's, again, to go back to the bird, it's not just instinct of when to know to leave the branch. It's our reasoning and ability and our intellect to know when it's time to leave the branch. Because you don't have to wait for the branch to break. You can feel a change in the branch, just like you can feel a change in the situation. It's like when we decide to change jobs, when we decide to enter and leave relationships. It's all knowing about what's that branch underneath.
This sounds very similar to a neuron in the brain called neuron plasticity, where I think it's supposed to help you adapt to brand new experiences, which reorganizes a certain pathway in the brain. It's called neuron plasticity. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's the brain's ability to adapt to different things, and then causing us as an entity to be able to adapt.
And I think, as you said, with the gift of reason, we are also able to predict pretty much when something is going to happen and adapt to that. We may know the branch has changed, but we have the intellect to reinforce the branch.
Yes,
we can change the situation because of our ability to reason. And again, you're absolutely correct about the neurons in the brain, because it not only recognizes the one thing, it recognizes related things, and every change in the brain is chemical and electrical, and we know it's a physical change. And so you're absolutely correct. The more connections we make, the better we understand something, and the better we can recall all the things related to it. So,
and the more we can associate, because learning is associating past experiences and using them in current and future situations. Yes. That's what learning is. Again, as the neuroplasticity, as the mind changes a little bit every time it experiences something different, it absorbs that experience and turns it into into knowledge.
Do you think learning is infinite, or do you think there's a limit to how much we can learn before our lifespan is done?
Well, I think the only limit is the limit on our lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have the ability to learn as much as, and sadly, unfortunately, the deterioration of the mind.
I also think that we don't realize how much we really know, because the brain is almost like a recorder. Everything that you've heard, seen, felt, done, you've stored in your brain somewhere.
Yep.
You just haven't made the number of pathways to bring it forward again. So we aren't even aware of everything that we possibly know. And and I think that's really interesting. And I think the power will come when we're able to bring all of that. Hey, what's going on, Asia? When we're able to finally bring all of that to the present, when we can call it up at will,
all at once. Right.
Yeah, and that
without crashing it.
Yeah, without crashing it. Yeah, that's
Well, one of the things I talk about, which is going to be would be a different topic, and I bring it up only because of one back point we bring up. We talk about unconscious bias and what we consciously and unconsciously see. The conscious mind processes 1,200 stimuli a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The unconscious mind, it's over 1 million.
Yeah,
processes over 1 million stimuli a minute.
Thousands and thousands. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and one of the things that I used to tell my students, and the greatest stimulus to memory is smell. That's the absolute trigger to memory is smell. Like you're walking down the steps and you smell bread and it takes you back to your grandmom's house and you remember everything about it. So what I would tell my students hypothetically is if you're studying, have a peppermint smell or a lemon smell, and then when you're in the exam, eat a peppermint or a lemon candy, and it'll bring back what you're studying. And those have been proven to be absolutely correct.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It really, really, really is. Because if you can relate your what you're learning to a smell, it's much easier to bring it back. It really, really is.
That's fascinating. Well, with that, we're going to come to the end. So, so last words from left to right, Richard.
Thank you for this, Jim, and everybody that is here. Thank you. This shows you the diversity of what we can do on this site, guys. And that everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to know from each other. And I don't mean just in a formal way. Your life experiences are as important to me as anything I've ever read in a textbook. So thank you. But thank you.
Love you back more, Richard. Thank you.
I love you back more. Love you back more, guys. Have a great night.
All right. If I am correct, I may take over for Morgan on the alternative tab on Thursday.
Okay.
And I'll be discussing something myself that I want to indirectly address to someone else to clarify.
Okay.
Hopefully I can make it.
Yep. And so sort of the last word for us.
Well, if you guys want to sign me up, feel free. I go live on the weekends, and I do my best to be supportive on here without trying to spend money. So.
Yeah, Faraz, I think, is one of the first 5 or 6 people I met on this site many, many years ago.
I know that's crazy how long we met, but
yep, it's great. So with that, I thank all of my guests who